And next, we're going to continue doing the compositing and also doing a lot of pen over, adding the background, etc., etc. And I was continually using Serhold, um, this smart layer to help me to see if there's any interesting possibility to bring back to some of the interesting color. And also, yeah, I'm tweaking some of the value, like it's more now it's like I tried to make sure the area in the edge of our canvas could be less saturating, or and also the value and everything could be, it just a lot more darker, or but of course the most important thing is uh uh reduce the contract, reduce the value, and try to make it light catchy for our eye, you know um and of course, I don't want it to darken the light, the area like directly. I was trying to do it in a more subtle way. And now I try to bring back to some of uh area the facing to the top, which is I using normal map, and I go to the our channel, and I right click the blue, so we can get the selection from the, well, the face that up toward to the top. And this layer, this setting could help us painting the skyline. And of course, if there is a skylight, it shouldn't be, bouncing into the some of the, extreme angle. Basically what can call is ambient occlusion. So we wanted to using ambient occlusion map to creating another mask, which is also we go into channel, we right click RGB channel, and we can get the solution from it. And also, yeah, and we can use it to creating another layer of a mask, which is using the group, and then we putting our skylight inside the group, and tweaking the ambient occlusion mask in order to bring back some of the more detail, and make sure our lighting not going to not bouncing into the well, ambient occlusion, and it could bring a more nature skylight to us. But of course, I try to make it just very very subtle, and and try to make it just not break the feeling, the feeling that I previously talked about, which is, you know grouping the kind of the value structure that the foreground is dark, the midground is gray, and the background is light. And also, I was using some photo package to help me to do some pen over or adding more detail. And I personally are using website like Artstation Marketplace or photobash.org a lot, and and I noticed, I think could be this website could be, well, it should be very like a default setting for many artists, but I know some artists maybe not very familiar with it, so I tried to bring this up. You can get a lot of resource from Artstation Marketplace. It's some of them even it is for free, so it just, you can test it, you can try it, you can just finding a lot of interesting experiment. You can do it, with those free very great resource from those places. And also you can get the license from those places, and that's the best part. And now I guess what I try to do is I try to do compositing the background, which is the sky, and want to creating a sky. uh, and yeah, I guess I'm not trying to do sky yet. I try to create more a background. I tried to creating, basically more cubical shape in the background. And Yeah, I try tweaking the value by using curvature tool and some clipping mask because I want to continually to make sure our background should be lightened than the everything in front of the background. And now I just using the finger tool to just directly tweaking and control the information inside the background. It is messy. It is very messy, but at the same time, creating some kind of pattern. It could creating some kind of gibberish detail. What I would say I would call it gibberish detail, which is it kind of didn't make sense, but seeing from the distance, you can your brain will automatically translate it into some information, and I think that's something the effect we trying to achieve. But of course, if you really want to push this painting into a more refined map painting, the kind of feeling, you should definitely using more photo or more 3D to really actual creating the background city, not doing like what I did, just using some gibberish pen over, and but this is still could be a concept, for us to do something if we really want to push to that very refined photorealism, that kind of look. We can using this to giving us a guide about what kind of density, what kind of proportion we want. We can using this method to giving us a guideline to helping us, or just and of course in the end I didn't do it. I just stopping on this step, which is I just using this gibberish background, pen over, tweaking things, and it's just doing in the very messy and abstract way. And but overall, it's just because the nature of what we're doing right now, it is a bunch of vertical cubicle shape, right? So it is it's kind of like a good fit for the nature of what we're doing right now. So it didn't creating I think it didn't creating that much bigger of weird feeling. So even our foreground, it is entirely rendered and building in 3D, and now I just using some painting with some very abstract way to creating some pattern. It still looks quite believable. But of course, by believable I mean it makes sense to us, right? But if we really zone in, or if this is a map painting, is of course totally it's not doable. But when I do this, I am continuing to think about the things I previously talked about, which is like big, medium, and small. I try to keep the positive and the negative shape to continually to look to be I'm still be aware of those aspect. I tried to make this the design principle guide me, and I think that's a super important thing. Um, yeah, the like I previously mentioned, the idea of checklist, those things, composition, big foreground, midground, background, and the value grouping, and big, medium, small. Those things are the checklist, and also it's not the check actually the checklist that could be done. Once we done, we can just forget it. Actually, it's going to guide us through the whole process. Yeah, like this one. Um, so I was kept those information inside my head all the time and think about it all the time, because really that's something going to guide us. And yeah, next what I gonna to do is um well excuse me. Okay, next what I'm going to do is uh to do the sky, and to composing the sky by grabbing some photo I buy from Gumroad, or Artstation Marketplace. And I was using this sky. I was actually I'm not sure, you know because I'm doing a like a bit of experimental a move, I just feel like okay, this guy looks like good, but maybe not. But oh, I try to check like perspective and the value and everything to make sure to try to finding the good combination, good way to combine this guy into my picture. But and also you can see the color is a bit off, so I try to tweak the color. I using the adjustment layer to and reduce the yellow, and I using the color balance to tweak the color of this sky background into more blue feeling. And I just later on I just feel like, man, why I'm doing this? Why I choosing of the sky that with the color that just so different to what I need, and tweak it. Why I just using the sky directly had the information that close to what I need, right? But at the moment, my brain is haven't start to function. I haven't think about those things. I just doing it, and making a lot of mistake. And later on I notice, oh man, this is not work out like entirely. So I needed to remove or replace this texture, sky texture entirely, and I choosing this one to replace it, and boom, actually worked pretty great. And I just tweaking the value a little bit, and I feel like, whoa, wow, this is actually a lot easier to use. And but well, you never know, right? You never know. That's why we need to do all the exercise and the study to make all the mistake that we can, so we can learn from it and gain the experience. Especially artists like me, I'm pretty slow and not very smart, so I needed to make a lot of mistake inside 3D, inside 2D, and finding a lot of methods for me to be make a lot of mistake, but at the same time to make sure that I can still enjoy the process. You know, by creating something that still look great, and I think I believe that's very important. Of course, I like doing art, and I can take loose and the fail, but I can't take loose and fail all the time. Sometimes I need something, some kind of reward, which is this kind of juicy picture. Even so, with 3D and everything, I know that even I fail something, or that I let myself to be lazy at something, overall I can still get something, at least not looks like too bad. And this is a method I've been following for a long time, and step by step I started building my awareness to about a lot of things, but basically it's just what I previously mentioned, big, medium, small, composition, and all those things. I make them becoming some kind of background music inside my head, and make them louder and louder. Then now I can make them, those things are becoming a very natural thing in my head. So I can make move and adjustment very fast, and relatively easier and faster, than before. And I can make less mistake, but still I can still make I still very much wanted to make more mistake to polish, my feeling, to my sensitivity about art and design. And yeah, and I feel like this circle is a really really cool element for my picture. As you may notice, my design, I didn't do much new design on this picture. Most of it I just using key bash, but I feel like this circle really are the very cool structure. I think it is very quite original. Probably the only or original idea inside this picture. And but I think it's okay. We don't need to be original all the time, like, because the first is like we are original because we are doing this in our own way, right? You're not gonna be, even you maybe you follow my tutorial and you using this keybash set, you're still going to do something in your own way, your own interpretation, right? And but also by, of course, by original, I mean the something that make people feel refresh. Well, sorry for my Chinglish. um, and I feel like this circle, this contract is quite refreshing, and also brings out the idea, like, who knows, like Zen, the kind of oriented feeling, the kind of Asia culture feeling. Who knows, yeah, and of course I'm from Asia, I'm from Taiwan, but I'm not sure. This is what is the reason why I'm doing this. And of course, actually, we can do all the time is with flipping our canvas. It can help us see the composition. And right now, by flipping the canvas, I can say that I feel like right now the composition is kind of weirdly, uh, uh, you know, turned into some weird angle. It's bit unbalanced. But of course, in the way, this kind of unbalance actually brings the kind of nature that what cyberpunk feel like. It's because we are in in this picture is we are in the three-dimensional city, right? So we want to have this kind of dizzy, you are in really high, really unstable city, the kind of feeling, and also the city is like giant stuff, and they are giving you a lot of pressure. That's something I feel like it's actually a quite cool things. But of course, later on, I still feel like this kind of unbalanced feeling is too much, and I tweak it later. I will tweak it later. But now I'm adding the fog um, by using the mispass, then giving us a mask to helping me to um, make sure my fog can drop into some place where and the purpose of adding fog is to emphasize the things in the foreground. As you can see, it is a layering a purpose. What's really important is we are adding fog. It's not for hiding stuff. It's because we want to emphasize something in the foreground. It's like we are increasing the strength of the silhouette of the foreground, or anything. The purpose is try to make sure that those shape becoming stronger. And as you can see, by adding the fog, I make the silhouette of the background and the foreground much more stronger. And that's really the purpose of adding the fog. Yeah, this feeling, this look, by adding the fog, I can make this silhouette more clear to see. And also, not every silhouette is good silhouette. I By adding the fog, we are creating the overlapping feeling, and overlapping feeling giving us the helping us increasing the feeling of silhouette of the foreground. And the foreground shape that we needed to increasing is the kind of foreground shape can giving us the linear perspective. This kind of shape is it is make we need to make sure this kind of shape is makes sense to our composition. So we are increasing it by adding the fog. So there's a series of logic behind why we adding certain thing. And sorry, I was kind of you know repeat myself and just mumbling non-stoply, but I really wanted to make sure that you can understanding every purpose of every move that I did. And also I really not try I really try to not doing a lot of move that I even myself cannot explain. And also I try to do not using too many add-on or doing a lot of crazy things, because I want to make this tutorial easy to follow. Well, maybe it's not very easy because I didn't explaining things too well, I guess. Especially on the 2D composition, it's just too complicated. Even myself, it's like I would say, like, man, what I'm saying. But I'm really recording everything I did, so you can really just repeat to see. If you feel something interesting, you can just repeat, again and again to find out what I'm doing. And because I'm really recording, and also you can see my keyboard, And also, I hope my commentary can really help you to understanding what I'm doing. And if you don't understand, of course, feel free to message me. Don't feel hesitate, and because when you ask me any question, actually you're helping me to be a better educator, and I can make better product. By product I mean tutorial. So actually, by asking me question, you are helping me make more money. So yeah, thank you, thank you. I thank you ahead. Um, yeah, right now time from time I just try to make sure my composition and the value are great. And yeah, I was tried adding another layer of fog. Oh, I make a mistake again. I was painting wrong mask, a wrong layer. I was painting on the mask. I was trying to adding another layer of fog on the background, between background and our render. Well, you can check it the file structure, and I will make the link. I will upload my file, my PSD file. You can check it on Google Drive, I think. What I'm doing. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is just continually adding some fog to increasing some information, some building. By adding the fog in on added behind. I added some building behind some building. We can and also emphasize the feeling of the building. And that's just great technique. By creating layer by layer and layer and make those layer overlapping each other, we can really increasing the kind of this Z-dash feeling. We can emphasize the make it just more dynamic. Oh, talk about dynamic. I forgot to mention something, which is one thing that I feel like Fog is so cool. It's because, well, not always, but it added this it added this concept pending. Our architecture, they are all square, they are cubical. Basically, they are very straight and hard angle, but Fog is a blur, and and hard to describe what it is. Uh, so it basically is a soft, rounded feeling and look. So this kind of shape creating by fog, actually creating a great contract between you know uh, uh, um, great contract between our building and the fog. It's kind of adding another layer of contract of the phone and shape language. So it is just very great, and also fog is a dynamic. It so dynamic is like feel things they're moving, feel like they can moving, and the building they are static. They are they are not moving, right? So I kind of forgot the word to say this idea. So it's another layer of gray contract. Oh, right now I am adding some um Gauss blur, Gaussian blur. I'm adding Gaussian blur on the my render because it is 6K image, right? So by adding a little bit of Gaussian blur, I can creating the kind of more realism, because I think in the real world, the edge should be less crispy. It's something, it's the technique I think I learned from a lot of master, maybe like anti-Zana. And adding layer is like is also many artists and the master are doing this, but the one giving me the most bigger impression is the what Yama Jorobaev do. And he is doing or Jama Jorobaev, I'm not sure. He had this interior church tutorial. He was saying like you want to increase in the feeling of epicness. It's just you should just adding as more layer as you can. Oh, right now what I'm doing is I was putting a 6K image into a 4K resolution, and also I changing the layer into smart object. And after this layer becoming smart object, I can I can keep the any default I did. And also man, it's another very complicated idea. It's just I'm sorry. And when we added the content inside, for example, I adding a thing and I save it, and it will update on the another it will update in the my file. And I wanted to, for now I want to tweak it the composition and the get rid of the kind of try to get rid of the kind of feeling of the unbalanced feeling. I will continue to do that a lot. And I'm going to do some. I think next thing I wanted to do is I'm going to do some kind of Gaussian blur and adding another layer, and well duplicating another, which is creating a halo effect. You know, what I do is just try to creating and make sure that the part, you know the lighting have the kind of halo effect. And also I will using mask to creating the area that I want the kind of effect shows up. Maybe I think this maybe is not the best way to do it, but it is indeed it is quite easy way to do it. Yeah, very subtle Gaussian blur, which is also kind of weird, because Cyberpunk is quite brutal idea, it's like high tech, low life, uh, but right now we are making too fantasy, right? But who knows? Maybe this is representing, you guys remember Pete, our hero guy. Maybe this is image inside his head. He feel like working on the big corporation. Excuse me. Okay, I'm back. Um, he feel like working on this kind of big corporation can bring his life, you know, a more light into his life. It's something that he ever want. So this is the big corporation inside his head. He's walking to it and he want to be a cyberpunk. And I was adding, this is also a nonsense gibberish. What I did is adding some noise and using this noise to adding another photo uh, texture to my picture. And the blending mode is I using soft light. And yeah, I think overall this is pretty much it.